Eskom and the government were back in court today seeking leave to appeal the landmark court ruling which gave an order for public institutions to be exempted from load shedding. Judgment in the matter has been reserved. Last year, the High Court in Pretoria found that rolling blackouts constitute an infringement of constitutional rights. It ordered that public health facilities, schools and police stations be exempted from outages or be provided with generators. But the power utility maintains that this is not technically possible. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is watching that story and he joins us now. Ziniko, tell us what came out today at court.
I can tell you, Prof, that it was a legal battle indeed when we had Eskom and, of course, the legal representative representing the president and the government in general up against ActionSA, up against the Democratic Alliance. But at the center of their argument, especially starting with Eskom, Mr. Mbogo, they were saying that the order or the ruling that was tabled by the court here where we are, was very, very vague. It was not specific, but also it would have serious implications on the processes of government, and also the president's representative and government representative also arguing the same thing, saying that, well, the order is not specific. It is not stating what violations exactly, would be tampered with or have been tampered with these load shedding. So they were basing their arguments on that. They were also mentioning the fact that it's as if the court, did not understand the separation of powers, because, there are processes and different powers that, policies are derived from and implemented on. So those are the major issues. But we have the leader of ActionSA, Mr. Mashaba, who's going to talk to us about your involvement. The matter was already in court. Two parties are battling it out. You are saying that this matter must not be appealed. Why is that your rationale?
Well, I think this really clearly demonstrates the abuse of power by our government, not just really their power, public resources, limited public resources. Instead of abiding and executing the court order as the judgment handed out on the 1st of December last year, spending money on very expensive legal team to appeal this. This is very unfortunate. This is the very same government that keeps promising South African public that South Africa will not have load shedding by end of this year. Then why towards what you've actually promised already, you want to really appeal cases? In cases where we did not really say there should not really be load shedding. Load shedding is here created by the very same government.
How do you then argue that, Mashaba, when government is a government, as Eskom is saying, well, all the parties do acknowledge that we do have a current energy plan that we're working on, and all those parties, must respect that. The only problem they're saying that realistically it's not practical that government can be able to allocate and find resources to implement the orders of the case. Isn't that maybe something you should consider, that in terms of realistically and having to take resources from elsewhere to direct it towards what the court was saying?
But the reason why the court agreed with us and obviously gave this directive that police stations, because South Africa today we're experiencing a genocide where 86 people are being murdered each day. And you look at every time people go to police stations to report cases of murder, cases of women being raped every 11 minutes, where criminal syndicates, drugs cartels are running amok in this country, where people cannot really get service. In the meantime, you talk about the government that really says to the world that they care about humanity. It is for that reason the court agreed with us from the beginning to say, no, hospitals, clinics, the schools and police stations, in the meantime, address those issues while you are looking at your long-term problems.
Let me come in against, one will say we've had load shedding for over 10 years now, and political parties are taking all these legal steps just because we're heading to the elections. How do you argue against that? Because we've been having this problem, but parties are only acting now.
Well, I think, honestly, if anyone would ever think that we are politicizing this matter, I'm actually a proud politician, because that's the role of politicians, to hold the government.
It's the timing that's been questioned.
It is a perfect. Actually, I'm a proud politician holding government accountable, because we should not have had load shedding in the first place. So whether we deal with this matter today or we deal with it after elections, it is our responsibility as politicians to hold the politicians accountable. So if that is the case, Herman Mashaba and ActionSA, we are proud politicians holding government accountable.
Yes, let's end it there. And Mashaba, thank you very much, sir, for your time. That's the leader of ActionSA, just giving us a sense of why is it that ActionSA has interest in this matter. But sounding very proudly, they're saying that yes, he's indeed a politician and he's using this matter to hold politicians accountable. So it's back to you, Mr. Mbogwa, in studio for now.
Thanks, Ziniko. Ziniko Mhlaba there in court with a very fiery ActionSA leader, Mr. Herman Mashaba.